Welcome! In the next 5 minutes, we're going to get you feeling super confident with the single most important tense in English. This is a special guide I've put together just for my students in Brazil, so we can finally nail down the simple present. Let's get right into it.
So why all this focus on the simple present? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It is the absolute bedrock of everyday English conversation. It's the tense you're going to hear and use more than any other. So getting this right, it's a total game changer for your fluency.
You probably know the basic idea, right? But do you know all the different situations where it pops up? We use it for routines, sure. For facts, absolutely. But did you know we even use it to talk about the future? It's true. So let's break down all the ways you're really going to use it.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with what the simple present actually is, then we'll get into building positive sentences, and after that, we'll tackle negatives and questions. Then we'll see it in action, in real life, and I'll leave you with a handy little checklist to make sure you get it right every time.
All right, let's kick things off with section 1. The big question, what is the simple present tense? Because, and this is important, it's about so much more than just what's happening this very second.
So this is the key thing you've got to remember. We're not talking about temporary stuff happening right now. We're talking about things that are stable. Facts and general truths like the sun rises in the east, or things you do over and over again, like I study English on Mondays. And check this out. This is a perfect example of how powerful tenses can be. Just look at the difference in feeling here. When you say she is living with her friend, it feels temporary, doesn't it? Like it's just for a little while. But when you say she lives with her friend, boom, it suddenly sounds permanent. That one little change tells a completely different story. Okay, let's start building. We're going to begin with positive statements. And this is where we're going to hit the single most important rule, and honestly, the most common mistake for Portuguese speakers. So really pay close attention here.
For most subjects, it's so easy. You just grab the base form of the verb. That's the infinitive without to. I work, you study, we play. Simple as that.
Okay, but here it is, the number one rule, the one that trips people up. For the third person, he, she, or it, you have to add that S to the verb. Now, I know in Portuguese the verb changes for everybody, but in English, this little S is only for he, she, and it. This is the spot where you really have to focus. And this chart here breaks down those spelling rules perfectly. Most of the time, you just slap an S on the end, but look at that second row. For verbs that end in sounds like sh or ch, we add es. Why? Honestly, it just makes it easier to say. And of course, don't forget that classic consonant plus Y rule. Study becomes studies. Okay, awesome. We've got positive sentences down. But what if we want to make them negative or ask a question? Well, in English, the main verb can't do that all by itself. It needs a little bit of help. And that's where these helper verbs come in, do and does. They are absolutely essential. See, unlike in Portuguese where you might just add known, English needs this extra word to signal that it's a negative or a question. They really do all the heavy lifting for us. So the formula for a negative sentence is really straightforward. But just look at that last step, because this is critical. The main verb goes right back to its original base form, no S's. I'm going to say it again, absolutely no S. So why is that? Well, because the helper verb, does, has already taken the S. Think of it this way. The S only gets to show up once in this part of the sentence. Since it's already on does, the main verb work gets to just relax and go back to its simple base form. And the same exact rule applies when you're asking questions. We start with our helper verb do or does, then we add the subject, and then, you guessed it, we use the base form of the main verb. Again, no S on that main verb.
Fantastic. You've totally got the structure down now. So let's move on to the really fun part. Where are you actually going to use this in real everyday life?
So here are the main situations. Of course, you've got your general truths and your habits, but look at some of the more surprising ones. We use it for schedules to talk about the future, which is kind of cool, and even for telling stories and jokes to make them feel more alive and immediate. This is a perfect example of a general truth, right? It's a fact. It's always true. So we use the simple present. It's just a stable piece of information about the world. And here, you want to look out for those little signal words like every week, always, or often. When you see those, a little bell should go off in your head. Ding, ding, ding. That's your clue to use the simple present, because we're talking about a routine. You see this? The train hasn't left yet. We're talking about the future.
But because its departure is on a fixed, official schedule, English treats it like it's a permanent fact. And that's why we use the simple present. It's a really common one you'll see with travel.
All right, you've learned all the different pieces of the puzzle. Now let's put it all together into one final checklist that you can use to make sure you get it right every single time.
So before you speak or before you hit send on that message, just mentally run through this quick 4-point check. It's going to help you catch those 2 most common mistakes: forgetting the third person S in positive sentences and forgetting to use the base verb in negatives and questions. You totally got this.
Okay, let's put this into practice right now. The best way to learn is by doing. So what's one thing you do every day? For example, I drink coffee every morning, or maybe I study English every day. Now it's your turn. Drop a sentence in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see what you write.